to Mrs. Gorf. They hadn't had a teacher for 3 days. They were afraid of what their new teacher would be like. They had heard she'd be a terribly nice teacher. They had never had a nice teacher. They were terribly afraid of nice teachers. Mrs. Jewls walked up the winding, creaking staircase to the 30th story. She was also afraid. She was afraid of the children. She had heard that they would be horribly cute children. She had never taught cute children. She was horribly afraid of cute children. She opened the door to the classroom. She was terribly nice. The children could tell just by looking at her. Mrs. Jewls looked at the children. They were horribly cute. In fact, they were much too cute to be children. "I don't believe it," said Mrs. Jewls. "It's a room full of monkeys." The children looked at each other. They didn't see any monkeys. "This is ridiculous," said Mrs. Jewls. "Just ridiculous. I walked all the way up 30 flights of stairs for nothing but a class of monkeys. What do they think I am? I'm a teacher, not a zookeeper." The children looked at her. They didn't know what to say. Todd scratched his head. "Oh, I'm sorry," said Mrs. Jewls. "Please don't get me wrong. I have nothing against monkeys. It is just that I was expecting children. I like monkeys. I really do. Why, I'm sure we can play all kinds of monkey games." "What are you talking about?" asked Todd. Mrs. Jewls nearly fell off her chair. "Well, what do you know? A talking monkey. Tomorrow I'll bring you a banana." "My name is Todd," said Todd. The children were flabbergasted. They all raised their hands. "I'm sorry," said Mrs. Jewls, "but I don't have enough bananas for all of you. I didn't expect this. Next week I'll bring in a whole bushel." "I don't want a banana," said Calvin. "I'm not a monkey." "Would you like a peanut?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "I think I might have a bag of peanuts in my purse. Wait a second. Yes, here it is." "Thanks," said Calvin. Calvin liked peanuts. Allison stood up. "I'm not a monkey," she said. "I'm a girl. My name is Allison, and so is everybody else." Mrs. Jewls was shocked. "Do you mean to tell me that every monkey in here is named Allison?" "No," said Jenny. "She means we are all children. My name is Jenny." "No," said Mrs. Jewls. "You're much too cute to be children." Jason raised his hand. "Yes," said Mrs. Jewls, "the chimpanzee in the red shirt." "My name is Jason," said Jason, "and I'm not a chimpanzee." "You're too small to be a gorilla," said Mrs. Jewls. "I'm a boy," said Jason. "You're not a monkey?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "No," said Jason. "And the rest of the class? They're not monkeys either?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "No," said Allison. "That is what we've been trying to tell you." "Are you sure?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "We'd know if we were monkeys, wouldn't we?" asked Calvin. "I don't know," said Mrs. Jewls. "Do monkeys know that they are monkeys?" "I don't know," said Allison. "I'm not a monkey." "No, I suppose you're not," said Mrs. Jewls. "Okay, in that case, we have a lot of work to do. Reading, writing, subtraction, addition, spelling. Everybody take out a piece of paper. We will have a test now." Jason tapped Todd on the shoulder. He said, "Do you want to know something? I liked it better when she thought we were monkeys." "I know," said Todd. "I guess now it means she won't bring me a banana." "There will be no talking in class," said Mrs. Jewls. She wrote Todd's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Chapter 3. Joe. Joe had curly hair, but he didn't know how much hair he had. He couldn't count that high. In fact, he couldn't count at all. When all of the other children went to recess, Mrs. Jewls told Joe to wait inside. "Joe," she said, "how much hair do you have?" Joe shrugged his shoulders. "A lot," he answered. "But how much, Joe?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "Enough to cover my head," Joe answered. "Joe, you are going to have to learn how to count," said Mrs. Jewls. "But, Mrs. Jewls, I already know how to count," said Joe. "Let me go to recess." "First count to 10, said Mrs. Jewls. Joe counted to 10. 6, 8, 12, 1, 5, 2, 7, 11, 3, 10. "No, Joe, that is wrong," said Mrs. Jewls. "No, it isn't," said Joe. "I counted until I got to 10. "But you were wrong," said Mrs. Jewls. "I'll prove it to you." She put 5 pencils on his desk. "How many pencils do we have here, Joe?" Joe counted the pencils. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. "There are 5 pencils, Mrs. Jewls." "That's wrong," said Mrs. Jewls. "How many pencils are there?" Joe asked. 5, said Mrs. Jewls. "That's what I said," said Joe. "May I go to recess now?" "No," said Mrs. Jewls. "You got the right answer, but you counted the wrong way. You were just lucky." She set 8 potatoes on his desk. "How many potatoes, Joe?" Joe counted the potatoes. 7, 5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. "There are 8 potatoes, Mrs. Jewls." "No, there are 8, said Mrs. Jewls. "But that's what I said," said Joe. "May I go to recess now?" "No, you got the right answer, but you counted the wrong way again." She put 3 books on his desk. "Count the books, Joe." Joe counted the books. 1,000, 1,000,000, 3. 3, Mrs. Jewls. "Correct," said Mrs. Jewls. "May I go to recess now?" Joe asked. "No," said Mrs. Jewls. "May I have a potato?" asked Joe. "No. Listen to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Mrs. Jewls. "Now you say it." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Joe. "Very good," said Mrs. Jewls. She put 6 erasers on his desk. "Now count the erasers, Joe, just the way I showed you." Joe counted the erasers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. "There are 10, Mrs. Jewls." "No," said Mrs. Jewls. "Didn't I count right?" asked Joe. "Yes, you counted right, but you got the wrong answer," said Mrs. Jewls. "This doesn't make any sense," said Joe. "When I count the wrong way, I get the right answer. And when I count right, I get the wrong answer." Mrs. Jewls hit her head against the wall 5 times. "How many times did I hit my head against the wall?" she asked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. "You hit your head against the wall 10 times, said Joe. "No," said Mrs. Jewls. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. "You hit your head 5 times, said Joe. Mrs. Jewls shook her head no and said yes, that is right. The bell rang, and all the other children came back from recess. The fresh air had made them very excited, and they were laughing and shouting. "Oh, darn," said Joe. "Now I missed recess." "Hey, Joe, where were you?" asked John. "You missed a great game of kickball." "I kicked a home run," said Todd. "What was wrong with you, Joe?" asked Joy. "Nothing," said Joe. "Mrs. Jules was just trying to teach me how to count." Joy laughed. "You mean you don't know how to count?" "Counting is easy," said Maurecia. Now, said Mrs. Jules. "What's easy for you may not be easy for Joe, and what's easy for Joe may not be easy for you." "Nothing's easy for Joe," said Maurecia. "He's stupid." "I can beat you up," said Joe. "Try it," said Maurecia. "That will be enough of that," said Mrs. Jules. She wrote Maurecia's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Joe put his head on his desk between the 8 potatoes and the 6 erasers. "Don't feel bad, Joe," said Mrs. Jules. "I just don't get it," said Joe. "I'll never learn how to count." "Sure you will, Joe," said Mrs. Jules. "One day it will just come to you. You'll wake up one morning and suddenly be able to count." Joe asked, "If all I have to do is wake up, what am I going to school for?" "School just speeds things up," said Mrs. Jules. "Without school, it might take another 70 years before you wake up and are able to count. By that time, I may have no hair left on top of my head to count," said Joe. "Exactly," said Mrs. Jules. "That is why you go to school." When Joe woke up the next day, he knew how to count. He had 55,006 hairs on his head. They were all curly. Chapter 4. Sherry. Sherry had long eyelashes. She weighed only 49 pounds. She always wore a big red and blue overcoat with a hood. The overcoat weighed 35 pounds. The red part weighed 15 pounds. The blue part weighed 15 pounds, and the hood weighed 5 pounds. Her eyelashes weighed 1.5 pounds. She sat next to the window in Mrs. Jules's class. She spent a lot of time just staring out the window. Mrs. Jules didn't mind. Mrs. Jules said that a lot of people learn best when they stare out a window. Sherry often fell asleep in class. Mrs. Jules didn't mind that either. She said that a lot of people do their best learning when they are asleep. Sherry spent all of her time either looking out the window or sleeping. Mrs. Jules thought she was the best student in the class. One afternoon, it was very hot. All of the windows were open, yet Sherry still wore her red and blue overcoat. The heat made her very tired. Mrs. Jules was teaching arithmetic. Sherry pulled the hood up over her face, buried herself in the coat, and went to sleep. "Mrs. Jules," said Kathy, "Sherry is asleep." "That's good," said Mrs. Jules. "She must be learning something." Mrs. Jules continued with the lesson. Sherry began to snore. "Mrs. Jules, Sherry is snoring," said Kathy. "Yes, I can hear her," said Mrs. Jules. "She's learning an awful lot today. I wish the rest of you could be like her." Sherry began to toss and turn. She flopped over on top of her desk and then rolled over on top of Kathy's desk. Then she rolled back the other way. Kathy screamed. Sherry rolled out the window. She was still sound asleep. As you know, Mrs. Jules's class was on the 30th story of Wayside School, so Sherry had a long way to go. After she had fallen 10 stories, Sherry woke up. She looked around. She was confused. She wasn't in Mrs. Jules's class, and she wasn't at home in bed. She couldn't figure out where she was. She yawned, pulled the hood back over her eyes, and went back to sleep. By that time, she had fallen another 10 stories. Wayside School had an exceptionally large playground. Lewis, the yard teacher, was way over on the other side of it when he happened to see Sherry fall out the window. He ducked under the volleyball net, hurtled past the kickball field, hopped over the hopscotch court, climbed through the monkey bars, sped across the grass, and caught Sherry just before she hit the ground. The people in Mrs. Jules's class cheered. Sherry woke up in Lewis's arms. "Darn it, Lewis," she said. "What did you go for?" "Sherry," said Lewis. "I'm sorry," Sherry repeated. "Is that all you can say? I was having a full dream until you woke me up. You're always bothering me, Lewis. I can't stand it." She laughed and hugged him around the neck. Lewis carried her back up 30 flights of stairs to Mrs. Jules's room. That evening, when Sherry went to bed, she was unable to fall asleep. She just wasn't tired. Chapter 5. Todd. All of the children in Mrs. Jules's class, except Todd, were talking and carrying on. Todd was thinking. Todd always thought before he spoke. When he got an idea, his eyes lit up. Todd finished thinking and began to speak. But before he said 2 words, Mrs. Jules called him. "Todd," she said, "you know better than to talk in class. You must learn to work quietly, like the other children." She wrote his name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Todd looked around in amazement. All of the other children, who had been talking and screaming and fighting only seconds earlier, were quietly working in their workbooks. Todd scratched his head. A child was given 3 chances in Mrs. Jules's class. The first time he did something wrong, Mrs. Jules wrote his name, said Mrs. Jules. "I have a dime," said Maricia. "I have 13 cents, said Leslie. "I have 4 cents, said Damien. "What kind of bank is this?" asked one of the robbers. "It's not a bank, it's a school," said Todd. "Can't you read?" "No," said the robbers. "Neither can I," said Todd. "Do you mean we walked all the way up 30 flights of stairs for nothing?" asked the robber. "Don't you have anything valuable?" Todd's eyes lit up. "We sure do," he said. "We have knowledge." He grabbed Joy's workbook and gave it to the robbers. "Knowledge is much more valuable than money." "Thanks, kid," said one of the robbers. "Maybe I'll give up being a criminal and become a scientist," said the other. They left the room without hurting anybody. "Now I don't have a workbook," complained Joy. Mrs. Jules gave her a new one. Joy had to start all the way back at the beginning. "Hey, Joy, what page are you on?" asked Todd. "Page 1, Joy sighed. "I'm on page 8, laughed Todd triumphantly. Mrs. Jules heard him. She circled his name. Todd had 3 strikes against him. At 12 o'clock, he left the room to go home early on the kindergarten bus. But this time when he left, he was like a star baseball player leaving the field. All the children stood up, clapped their hands, and whistled. Todd scratched his head. Chapter 6. BB. BB was a girl with short brown hair, a little BB nose, totally tiny toes, and big brown eyes. Her full name was BB Gunn. She was the fastest draw in Mrs. Jules's class. She could draw a cat in less than 45 seconds, a dog in less than 30, and a flower in less than 8 seconds. But, of course, BB never drew just one dog or one cat or one flower. Art was from 12:30 to 1:30. Why, in that time, she could draw 50 cats, 100 flowers, 20 dogs, and several eggs or watermelons. It took her the same amount of time to draw a watermelon as an egg. Calvin sat next to BB. He didn't think he was very good at art. Why, it took him the whole period just to draw one airplane. So instead, he just helped BB. He was BB's assistant. As soon as BB would finish one masterpiece, Calvin would take it from her and set down a clean sheet of paper. Whenever her crayon ran low, Calvin was ready with a new crayon. That way, BB didn't have to waste any time. And in return, BB would draw 5 or 6 airplanes for Calvin. It was 12:30, time for art. BB was ready. On her desk was a sheet of yellow construction paper. In her hand was a green crayon. Calvin was ready. He held a stack of paper and a box of crayons. "Ready, BB," said Calvin. "Ready, Calvin," said BB. "Okay," said Mrs. Jewls. "Time for art." She had hardly finished her sentence when BB had already drawn a picture of a leaf. Calvin took it from her and put another piece of paper down. "Red," called BB. Calvin handed BB a red crayon. "Blue," called BB. He gave her a blue crayon. They were quite a pair. Their teamwork was remarkable. BB drew pictures as fast as Calvin could pick up the old paper and set down the new. A fish, an apple, 3 cherries, bing, bing, bing. At 1:30, Mrs. Jewls announced, "Okay, class, art is over." BB dropped her crayon and fell over on her desk. Calvin sighed and leaned back in his chair. He could hardly move. They had broken their old record. BB had drawn 378 pictures. They lay in a pile on Calvin's desk. Mrs. Jewls walked by. "Calvin, did you draw all these pictures?" Calvin laughed. "No, I can't draw. BB drew them all." "Well, then, what did you draw?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "I didn't draw anything," said Calvin. "Why not? Don't you like art?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "I love art," said Calvin. "That's why I didn't draw anything." Mrs. Jewls did not understand. "It would have taken me the whole period just to draw one picture," said Calvin. "And BB would only have been able to draw 100 pictures. But with the two of us working together, she was able to draw 378 pictures. That's a lot more art." BB and Calvin shook hands. "No," said Mrs. Jewls, "that isn't how you measure art. It isn't how many pictures you have, but how good the pictures are. Why, a person could spend his whole life just drawing one picture of a cat. In that time, I'm sure BB could draw 1,000,000 cats." 2,000,000, said BB. Mrs. Jewls continued, "But if that one picture is better than each of BB's 2,000,000, then that person has produced more art than BB." BB looked as if she was going to cry. She picked up all the pictures from Calvin's desk and threw them in the garbage. Then she ran from the room. I thought her pictures were good, said Calvin. He reached into the garbage pail and took out a crumpled up picture of an airplane. Bibi walked outside into the playground. Louis, the yard teacher, spotted her. Where are you going? He asked. I'm going home to draw a picture of a cat, said Bibi. Will you bring it to school and show it to me tomorrow? Louis asked. Tomorrow? Laughed Bibi. By tomorrow, I doubt if I'll even be finished with one whisker. Chapter 7. Calvin. Calvin had a big, round face. Calvin, said Mrs. Jules, I want you to take this note to Miss Zarves for me. Miss Zarves? Asked Calvin. Yes, Miss Zarves, said Mrs. Jules. You know where she is, don't you? Yes, said Calvin. She's on the 19th story. That's right, Calvin, said Mrs. Jules. Take it to her. Calvin didn't move. Well, what are you waiting for? Asked Mrs. Jules. She's on the 19th story, said Calvin. Yes, we have already established that fact, said Mrs. Jules. The 19th story, Calvin repeated. Yes, Calvin, the 19th story, said Mrs. Jules. Now take it to her before I lose my patience. But, Mrs. Jules, said Calvin. Now, Calvin, said Mrs. Jules, unless you would rather go home on the kindergarten bus. Yes, ma'am, said Calvin. Slowly, he walked out the door. Ha, 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 laughed Terence. Take it to the 19th story. Give it to Miss Zarves, hooted Myron. Have fun on the 19th story, called Jason. Calvin stood outside the door to the classroom. He didn't know where to go. As you know, when the builder built Wayside School, he accidentally built it sideways. But he also forgot to build the 19th story. He built the 18th and the 20th, but no 19th. He said he was very sorry. There was also no Miss Zarves. Miss Zarves taught the class on the 19th story. Since there was no 19th story, there was no Miss Zarves. And besides that, as if Calvin didn't have enough problems, there was no note. Mrs. Jules had never given Calvin the note. Boy, this is just great, thought Calvin. Just great. I'm supposed to take a note that I don't have to a teacher who doesn't exist and who teaches on a story that was never built. He didn't know what to do. He walked down to the 18th story, then back up to the 20th, then back down to the 18th, and back up again to the 20th. There was no 19th story. There never was a 19th story, and there never will be a 19th story. Calvin walked down to the administration office. He decided to put the note in Miss Zarves's mailbox. But there wasn't one of those either. That didn't bother Calvin too much, however, since he didn't have a note. He looked out the window and saw Louis, the yard teacher, shooting baskets. Louis will know what to do, he thought. Calvin went outside. Hey, Louis, Calvin called. Hi, Calvin, said Louis. He tossed him the basketball. Calvin dribbled up and took a shot. He missed. Louis tipped it in. Do you want to play a game? Louis asked. I don't have time, said Calvin. I have to deliver a note to Miss Zarves up on the 19th story. Then what are you doing all the way down here? Louis asked. There is no 19th story, said Calvin. Then where is Miss Zarves? Asked Louis. There is no Miss Zarves, said Calvin. "What are you going to do with the note?" asked Lewis. "There is no note," said Calvin. "I understand," said Lewis. "That's good," said Calvin, "because I sure don't." "It's very simple," said Lewis. "You are not supposed to take no notes to no teachers. You already haven't done it." Calvin still didn't understand. "I'll just have to tell Mrs. Jules that I couldn't deliver the note," he said. "That's good," said Lewis. "The truth is always best. Besides, I don't think I understand what I said either." Calvin walked back up the 30 flights of stairs to Mrs. Jules's class. "Thank you very much, Calvin," said Mrs. Jules. Calvin said, "But Mrs. Jules interrupted him. "That was a very important note, and I'm glad I was able to count on you." "Yes, but you see," said Calvin. "You delivered the note to Miss Zarves on the 19th story?" asked Jason. "How did you do it?" "What do you mean, how did he do it?" asked Mrs. Jules. "He gave Miss Zarves the note. Some people, Jason, are responsible." "But you see, Mrs. Jules," said Calvin. "The note was very important," said Mrs. Jules. "I told Miss Zarves not to meet me for lunch." "Don't worry," said Calvin. "She won't." "Good," said Mrs. Jules. "I have a coffee can full of Tootsie Roll Pops on my desk. You may help yourself to one for being such a good messenger." "Thanks," said Calvin. "But really, it was nothing." Chapter 8. Myron. Myron had big ears. He was elected class president. The children in Mrs. Jules's class expected him to be a good president. Other presidents were good speakers. Myron was even better. He was a good listener. But he had a problem. He didn't know what a class president was supposed to do. So he asked, "What am I supposed to do?" "It's a difficult job," said Mrs. Jules, "but you can do it. You must turn the lights on every morning and turn them off at the end of the day." "What?" asked Myron. "As a class president, you must learn to listen," said Mrs. Jules. "I'll repeat myself only one more time. You must turn the lights on every morning." "I heard you the first time," said Myron. "It just doesn't sound like much of a job." "It certainly is," said Mrs. Jules. "Without light, I can't teach, and the children can't learn. Only you can give us that light. I think it is a very important job." "I guess so," said Myron. He wasn't convinced. "Here, let me show you how to work a light switch," said Mrs. Jules. "I already know how," said Myron. "I've been turning lights on and off all my life." "Very good," said Mrs. Jules. "You'll make a fine president." Myron wanted to be the best president ever. But it was such an easy job, he thought, that anybody could do it. When school let out that day, Myron stayed behind. He turned out the lights by flicking the switch down. "Excellent," said Mrs. Jules. On his way home, Myron heard a horrible noise. First, there was a loud screeching, then a sharp squeal, a roaring engine, and then the very faint sound of a girl crying. Myron ran to see what had happened. Dana was bent over in the middle of the road. "What's the matter?" asked Myron. "My dog, Pugsy, was hit by a car," Dana cried. "Who did it?" asked Myron. "I don't know," Dana sobbed. "They sped away." Well, that's not important, said Myron. We've got to try to save Pugsy. Pugsy lay unconscious in the street. Myron carefully picked her up. He carried her 2 miles to the vet. Dana cried at his side. Don't worry, Dana, said Myron. She'll be all right. But he wasn't really so sure. He gave Pugsy to the vet, walked Dana home, then walked home himself. Dana was so upset that she forgot to thank him. Myron didn't mind. He thought that was what being class president was all about. The next morning, before he went to school, Myron went to Dana's house. Pugsy was there. She seemed all right. Dana petted her. Pugsy licked her face. See, Myron, she's all right, said Dana. The vet said that you brought her in just in time. Hi, Pugsy, said Myron. He petted her. Pugsy bit his hand. I guess she doesn't know you, said Dana. She was unconscious yesterday when you saved her life. Dana's mother put some medicine and a Band-Aid on Myron's hand. Then she drove the children to school. They were late. They ran up the stairs to Mrs. Jules's class. The room was completely dark. It's about time you got here, Myron, said Mrs. Jules. We have no lights. Why didn't somebody else just turn them on? Asked Myron. Because you're class president, said Mrs. Jules. Show Stephen how to work the lights. From now on, he will be class president. Myron showed Stephen how to turn on the lights. He flicked the switch up. At the end of the day, Myron showed Stephen how to turn the lights off. He flicked the switch down. After a week, Stephen finally caught on. He made a good president. The lights were on every morning. Myron, who was president for only a day, was the best president in the history of Wayside School. It was just that nobody knew it. Chapter 9. Mauricia. Mauricia liked ice cream. She was sweet and pretty and could beat up any boy in Mrs. Jules's class. Everybody liked Mauricia, except Kathy, but then she didn't like anybody. Mauricia only liked ice cream. Every day, Mauricia brought an ice cream cone to school and kept it in her desk until lunchtime. At first, she brought chocolate ice cream every day. But she soon tired of chocolate ice cream, so she started bringing vanilla. But she got tired of vanilla too. Then she got tired of strawberry, fudge ripple, butter pecan, pistachio, and burgundy cherry in that order. And then a terrible thing happened. Mauricia got tired of ice cream. By that time, her desk was a mess, and everything in it was sticky. Everybody liked Mauricia, but Mauricia didn't like anything. Mrs. Jules hated to see Mauricia unhappy. I don't understand it, Mrs. Jules, cried Mauricia. There just aren't any good flavors anymore. So Mrs. Jules worked all night. The next day, she brought in a new flavor of ice cream for Mauricia. It was Mauricia-flavored ice cream. Everybody will like it, thought Mrs. Jules, because everybody likes Mauricia. Here you are, Mauricia, said Mrs. Jules. Mauricia-flavored ice cream. Everybody gathered around as Mauricia tasted it. They hoped she'd like it. Mauricia took a lick. Well, said Mrs. Jewls. Maurecia took another lick. Well? Asked the class. This ice cream has no taste, said Maurecia. It doesn't taste bad, but it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste like anything at all. Mrs. Jewls was heartbroken. Here, let me try it, said Todd. He tasted it. You're crazy, Maurecia, he said. This is the best tasting ice cream I've ever eaten. Try some, Dee Dee. It's delicious, said Dee Dee. It's so sweet and creamy. She passed it around the room. Oh, it is so good, said Leslie. I think it tastes terrible, said Kathy. I don't understand it, said Maurecia. I don't taste a thing. Mrs. Jewls slapped herself in the face. Oh, I've made a big mistake, Maurecia. Of course you can't taste anything. It's Maurecia-flavored ice cream. It's the same taste you always taste when you're not tasting anything at all. So the next day, Mrs. Jewls brought in Joe-flavored ice cream. Maurecia liked it. So did everybody else. Joe thought it had no taste. Everybody liked Maurecia. Maurecia only liked Joe. The following day, Mrs. Jewls brought in Ron-flavored ice cream. Ron thought it had no taste, but everybody else loved it. Everybody liked Maurecia. Maurecia only liked Joe and Ron. By the end of the month, Mrs. Jewls had brought in 27 new flavors of ice cream, one for each member of the class. Everybody liked Maurecia, and Maurecia liked everybody. They all tasted so good. All except Kathy, that is. Kathy-flavored ice cream tasted a little bit like old bologna. Everyone still agreed that Maurecia-flavored ice cream was the best, except Maurecia. She liked Todd ice cream the best. This turned out to be a problem. Every once in a while, Maurecia would try to take a bite out of Todd's arm in order to get that very special flavor. Chapter 10. Paul. Paul had the best seat in Mrs. Jewls' class. He sat in the back of the room. It was the seat that was the farthest away from Mrs. Jewls. Mrs. Jewls was teaching the class about fractions. She drew a picture of a pie on the blackboard. She cut the pie into 8 pieces. She explained that each piece was 1/8 of the pie. Paul never paid attention. He didn't see the picture of the pie. He didn't see anything. Well, he did see one thing. Actually, he saw 2 things. He saw Leslie's 2 pigtails. Leslie sat in front of Paul. She had 2 long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. Paul saw those pigtails, and a terrible urge came over him. He wanted to pull a pigtail. He wanted to wrap his fist around it, feel the hair between his fingers, and just yank. He thought it would also be fun to tie the pigtails together, or, better yet, tie them to her chair. But most of all, he just wanted to pull one. Slowly, he reached for the one on the right. Slowly, he reached for the one on the right. No, what am I doing? He thought. I'll only get into trouble. Paul had it made. He sat in the back of the room. He paid no attention to anyone, and nobody paid any attention to him. But if he pulled a pigtail, it would be all over. Leslie would tell on him, and he'd become the center of attention. He sighed and slowly withdrew his arm. But Paul couldn't ignore those pigtails. There they were, dangling right in front of him, just begging to be pulled. He could close his eyes, but he couldn't make the pigtails disappear. He could still smell them and hear them. He could almost taste them. Maybe just a little tug, he thought. No, none. There they hung, easily within his reach. Well, let them just hang there, thought Paul. It would be foolish to pull one, no matter how tempting they were. None of the other children in the class pulled pigtails. Why should he? Of course, none of the other children sat behind Leslie either. It was just a simple matter of being able to think clearly. That was all. Paul thought it over and decided not to pull one. It was as simple as that. Suddenly, his arm shot forward. He grabbed Leslie's right pigtail and yanked. "Yeah!" screamed Leslie. Everybody looked at her. "Paul pulled my pigtail," she said. They all looked at Paul. I couldn't help it," said Paul. "You'd better learn to help it," said Mrs. Jules. She wrote Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. "Tell Leslie you're sorry." "I'm sorry, Leslie," said Paul. "Humph," said Leslie. Paul felt horrible. Never again would he pull another pigtail. Except there was one problem. He still wasn't satisfied. He had pulled the right one, but that wasn't enough. He wanted to pull the left one too. It was as if he heard a little voice coming from the pigtail, saying, "Pull me, Paul, pull me." "I can't," Paul answered. "My name's already on the blackboard under the word discipline." "Big deal," said the pigtail. "Pull me." "No way," said Paul. "Never again." "Aw, come on, Paul. Just a little tug," urged the pigtail. "What harm could it do?" "Lots of harm," said Paul. "Leslie will scream, and I'll get in trouble again." "Boy, that's not fair," whined the pigtail. "You pulled the right one. Now it's my turn." "I know, but I can't," said Paul. "Sure you can," said the pigtail. "Just grab me and yank." "No," said Paul. "It's not right." "Sure it is, Paul," said the pigtail. "Pigtails are meant to be pulled. That's what we're here for." "Tell that to Leslie," said Paul. "Leslie won't mind," said the pigtail. "I promise." "I bet," said Paul. "Just like she didn't mind the last time." "You just didn't pull hard enough," said the pigtail. "Leslie likes us pulled real hard." "Really?" asked Paul. "Cross my heart," said the pigtail. "The harder, the better." "Okay," said Paul, "but if you're lying..." "I promise," said the pigtail. Paul grabbed the left pigtail. It felt good in his hand. He pulled as hard as he could. "Yeah!" screamed Leslie. Mrs. Jules asked, "Paul, did you pull Leslie's pigtail again?" "No," said Paul. "I pulled the other one." All the children laughed. "Are you trying to be funny?" asked Mrs. Jules. "No," said Paul. "I was trying to be fair. I couldn't pull one and not the other." The children laughed again. "Pigtails are meant to be pulled," Paul concluded. Mrs. Jules put a check next to Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. But at last, Paul was satisfied. True, his name was on the blackboard with a check next to it, but that really didn't matter. All he had to do was stay out of trouble the rest of the day, and his name would be erased. It's easy to stay out of trouble when you have the best seat in the class. In fact, Paul could do this every day. He could pull Leslie's pigtails twice and then stay out of trouble the rest of the day. There was nothing Leslie could do about it. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Leslie screamed, "Yeah!" Mrs. Jules circled Paul's name and sent him home early on the kindergarten bus. Nobody would believe that he hadn't pulled Leslie's pigtail again. Chapter 11. Dana. Dana had 4 beautiful eyes. She wore glasses, but her eyes were so beautiful that the glasses only made her prettier. With 2 eyes, she was pretty. With 4 eyes, she was beautiful. With 6 eyes, she would have been even more beautiful. And if she had 100 eyes, all over her face and her arms and her feet, why, she would have been the most beautiful creature in the world. But poor Dana wasn't covered from head to foot with beautiful eyes. She was covered with mosquito bites. Mrs. Jules picked up her yardstick and said, "Now it's time for arithmetic." "Oh no, Mrs. Jules," said Dana. "I can't do arithmetic. I itch all over. I can't concentrate." "But we have all kinds of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jules. "Addition without carrying, addition with carrying, and carrying without addition." "I don't care," cried Dana. "We have that too," said Mrs. Jules. "Addition without caring. Now stop carrying on." Dana whined. "I can't, Mrs. Jules. I itch too much." "And I'm too thirsty," said DJ. "I'm too tired," said Ron. "I'm too hungry," said Terrence. "I'm too stupid," said Todd. Mrs. Jules hit her desk with her yardstick. Everyone stopped talking. Mrs. Jules said, "We are going to have arithmetic now, and I don't want to hear another thing about it." "But, Mrs. Jules, I really do itch. I can't do arithmetic," Dana whined. "No," said Mrs. Jules. "Arithmetic is the best known cure for an itch. How many mosquito bites do you have?" "I don't know," said Dana. "Over 100. First, I try scratching one, but then another one starts to itch. So I scratch that one, and that one stops, and another one starts. So I scratch that one, and the itch moves down to another one. Then it goes back to the first one. The itch just never stays in the same place. I just can't scratch them all. What you need is a good, strong dose of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jules. "I'd rather have calamine lotion," said Dana. "Remember, Dana," said Mrs. Jules, "mosquito bites itch, not numbers." "So what?" said Dana. Mrs. Jules continued, "We'll just have to turn your mosquito bites into numbers." "I'm a mess," Dana moaned. Mrs. Jules began to turn the mosquito bites into numbers. "How much is 3 mosquito bites plus 3 mosquito bites?" she asked. Rondi raised her hand. 6 mosquito bites, she answered. How much is 6 mosquito bites minus 2 mosquito bites? Asked Mrs. Jules. 4 mosquito bites, said DJ. How much is 5 mosquito bites times 2? Asked Mrs. Jules. 10 mosquito bites, said BB. Very good, said Mrs. Jules. I still itch, Dana complained. I've got one more question, said Mrs. Jules. How much is 49 mosquito bites plus 75 mosquito bites? Nobody raised a hand. Think, class, said Mrs. Jules. This is for Dana. Nobody knew the answer. Dana's itch began to get worse and worse. At last, Dana began counting her own mosquito bites. She counted 75 on one side and 49 on the other. Then she added them together for a total of 124 mosquito bites. 124 mosquito bites, Dana called. Very good, said Mrs. Jules. Dana had 124 mosquito bites, and none of them itched anymore. I'm still thirsty, said DJ. Can arithmetic do anything for that? I'm still tired, said Ron. I'm still hungry, said Terrence. I'm still stupid, said Todd. I'm glad we turned my mosquito bites into numbers instead of letters, said Dana. I could never spell mosquito. Chapter 12. Jason. Jason had a small face and a big mouth. He had the second biggest mouth in Mrs. Jules's class, and there were an awful lot of big mouths in that class. Mrs. Jules, Jason called without raising his hand. Joy is chewing gum in class. Joy had the biggest mouth in Mrs. Jules's class, and it was filled with gum. There was hardly even room for her tongue. Joy, I'm ashamed of you, said Mrs. Jules. I'm afraid I'll have to put your name up on the board. That's okay, Mrs. Jules, Jason called. I'll do it. Jason hopped out of his seat and wrote Joy's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. While he was up, Joy took the glob of gum out of her mouth and placed it on Jason's chair. Rondi and Allison giggled. Jason walked back from the blackboard to his desk and sat down. Mrs. Jules, he called, I'm stuck. Rondi and Allison giggled again. Mrs. Jules got angry. Joy, you're going home on the kindergarten bus today. Oh, good, said Todd. I'll have some company. Todd went home on the kindergarten bus every day.
Omen. Bleach.
Let's go.
Careful. Reloading.
Right there.
Someone's A. Reloading. Going up.
No to jest
A? Gdzie?
Tak, shit.
60 chamber. الفوطة هي طولت الهضرة صافي شحال هذيك تيجي كرة ذهبية صافي.
Spike planted.
My camera is destroyed.
Trevor!
Last player standing.
Buried.
ما تراي ما تراي.
Okay, Omen. I'll smash in the front door while you sneak in the back. That's a good plan, yeah?
No prisoners.
Concussing! Blasting!
Here, reload.
Going up!
Reloading. Here.
لسه روتيت لسه روتيت. اش بتشي؟
ماشي
انا صاحبي.
Spike
اصلا
dropped!
دابا بغيت نشوف شكون ما يعطيوها
I have the spike.
ما يقولوا دابا
Our carrier's dead.
اي
Spike down B.
اي
One enemy remaining.
نايس خليكم واحد
Got the spike!
البوطيه سريعه شحال كره ذهبيه عندها
30 seconds left.
هي الحكمه في هاد البنات
Spike planted!
صبر صبر ضرب خوتي قتل فيهم.
قال لك وين شوف
Flash!
فين سبايك بلاتي نايس
وين باتي؟
اسموك تقدر تجيب اللور
ما يمكنش. هي كانت هنايا. والله لا ديك الساعة.
شوف على الفوق شوف الفوق شوف الفوق على اليمين ما كاينش ديفيوزي
Trevor!
وشو انا
Last player standing.
يخ نضرب
Ultimate ready.
كنت شوف. والله لا صاحب مشات تورك والله الا عندها الجهد بالله.
اما انا عندهم جاب بزاف والله يتندو معاه في عندهم واحد الجهد في هاد الفار ما يمكنش
بزاف مسات.
هما غيقولوا دابا
حتى ما مترشحين شكون اللي مترشح ليها.
شكون اللي مرشح
امم
ايديها يا رافينيا يا ديمبيلي يا يمين يامال
عطيوها ليها ما
زين
باش يحلوها لي شويه.
هذاك البروس هو باقي 16 عام
Concussing!
ولا غيحكمها
Clearing out.
شي واحد في العالم ما كاين بحالو دابا
Come on, let's go!
غادي نقولوا راه كان ورا من حين
That's not ready. Bunch of guys blinding!
Enemy spotted.
راه غادي ولا غادي على لا لا لا
Worthless.
Reload.
Reloading.
ريلود
Someone's A.
One enemy remaining.
Free out!
Plant the spike. Tripwire destroyed. Here.
ما عندك سبايك.
لا
Planted.
شيرين عندها شيرين ما ماشي جيد ما عندهاش ما تيتقاداش.
Reloading.
جاب الطرق.
Camera taken out.
والله الا جيبها والله الا روطه بالله.
ما عندهم الجهد تنقول
Trevor!
صرف بزاف.
هبط
Weapon here.
It's my fucking skin
هاك بيتي.
لا
We
لا
can try something.
زين
I
هذا.
see it.
زوين زوين داك السكين. اكو سبايك.
Let's go
راه ما نقول
guys.
دابا شكون باين يديها.
Let's go guys.
Let's go touch yourself.
تخيل معايا اللعابه ديال البارسا مرشحين لها. وات ذا فاك.
اي
Reina, wake up.
عندك نونو مينديز هو الاول مرشح تبع البارسا. بالمر.
Here.
Flash out!
هذا اشرف حكيمي حكم مرشح.
My ult's ready. Lightning!
Plant the spike.
Spike planted.
Reloading. Here.
One enemy remaining.
No one beats me. No one. Charging. Reload him. They're not getting the message. Leave it to me. I'll rough them up.
كلشي تيغوت اوسمان صافي نار على اللقطه. نار على اللقطه.
ما بيتياش عثمان واش تهمه البروج باقي راه طالع بيعتبر البروج
لا هذه تعتبر اوسمان.
لا ما يعتبرش ليه ما يتياش
راه ولا عنده الالقاب.
واخا
اولي دا دوره.
Behind me.
عرفت انت دابا شوف
تخيل معايا يلاه بغا يقول لك يقولوا حنا بعد فتره غادي نقول لكم شكون داك الشيء تيراود اوسمان.
ناس والله لا ناس والله
ناري.
Flash out.
let's go baby.
Sword dropped. Spike
داير بالي اللي
planted.
دا قلتها لك.
ويلي او
لا انا هو اللي عنده هو اللي فهمتي هو اللي دا الجوائز. شي كون دات البارسا تشامبيونز ليغ كون دا.
واش هاد الوحده هادي اللي عندي انا 30 في الدم
برافو.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
fast ويلي هذا ضرب كمان
They're losing heart. I can feel it.
Phoenix, do you have skin phantom?
I need a drop.
Wow, skin Vandal. I need skin Vandal, guys.
Yes,
please.
I have.
Come.
What the fuck?
Come on.
I need this.
I need a drop. Cheers.
Skin phantom, I want.
I need a drop. I take what I want.
Oh, thank you. Let's go now.
كورونا من الحب.
Concussing. Blasting. Blinding. Enemy spotted. Flash out. Look sharp. Someone's aim. My ultimate's ready.
Weapon here.
Cover going out.
Here.
هري.
Our carrier's dead.
Spike carrier killed.
Got you.
My ult's ready.
Where is everyone hiding?
Like,
Someone is A.
Reloading.
Someone's A.
One enemy remaining.
You had your fun. My turn.
One enemy remaining.
Three out.
Last player standing.
هاري داري.
I've got your trail.
Be mindful of their chamber. He does not miss much.
علاش؟ واخا. فينيكس كيف فانتوم؟
I need a drop.
فانتوم.
I need a drop.
That's good. Okay.
Take him.
نسينا كاع البي.
Trevor! Clearing out!
Fire in the hole.
Hit the hole.
Flash! Reloaded.
اوه شنو
One enemy remaining.
داماجي لا كلوف ما عرفتش ما فهمتش هسه خلي شارينا ندير بوحدها
My ultimate is not ready.
جو بي
القحاب عرفتي يحطوني في واحد القيس من العام هذا.
مالو
في واحد الجزء اساسي ذا اقسم بالله يضرب شي معاهم النوقه عرفتي فهمتي داك النوع تكون قاس تكون فهمتي قاس بزاف في التعليم وكذا تحول وما والو والاخر هذا العام هذا اخر عام ليا المشكل فاش جاوني في السيونس والماط يعني هو عامل 6 وعامل 7 هو المهم من عندي.
هذا كان مزيان هاي زيروك
Last player standing.
باش تير
انا بغيت نضربو
ويلي ديك تجيب تضرب كي كتشوف شي حاجه اخرى شي شارينا شي
قال لي يكون
What?
يا بليز
I don't hear. What you need?
كورونا
I need a drop. Cheers.
ثانك يو
Now, where to set up
العب
shop?
معنا صاحبي لا ندرك هاد الماتشات
You want to play? Let's play.
ممكن جينا نهضر مع واحد
Blasting! Blinding!
Reloading. Reloading.
Reloading.
هذا بيجوا من هنا شو بلا واخا ضمو مشى روتيتي روتيت رينا good job
Last player standing.
good job
30 seconds left.
Spike planted.
بس
Strike at their weak points. If one link breaks, the rest will follow. I need a drop. Cheers.
Please, follow me, please. I buy you. Fast, 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 fast.
Here.
What?
Oh my god.
Gun here.
واش راه لي يا صاحبي.
Reloading.
Clearing out.
Rotate B.
Fast rotate. From me.
ماما الله يرحم لك واش
Here.
Spike dropped.
Oh.
Foolish.
ملي كتقول لي ديك عامر اصبر عليا تنقول لك ماما لا. ولا بعدين الا ما انا قلت لك قلت لك اصبر.
Planted the spike.
Target down.
Down.
One enemy remaining.
Good job here.
I'm switchy here. Let's go already. I need a drop.
Can you buy me?
I need a drop. Cheers.
Can you buy me? Corona me, please. I don't have credits. Thank you.
I need a
Just
drop.
give him.
Cheers.
Okay, rush set.
Let's give him I'm gonna buy you one.
Thank you.
Embarrassing.
Shadows traveling.
يلا بس الكلب.
Flash out. That's done.
بس الكلب.
Come on, let's go. Someone's A.
Here.
Reloading.
Last player standing. Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
ستة.
Cover going out.
كل شيء لمه.
I know. Hold on.
Shadows traveling.
30 seconds left.
باقي تماي. طالب مال فوق. مش كنت طلعت فوق الآخر في راسك. ماشي هنا. أنا أتلاقى مع فص. هيجي. هلا.
You forget your place. Omen, you're not even winded. You sure you're human?
Felix, please, Randall. Corona me, please.
I need a drop.
عرفتي هما شنو كيقولوا دابا ديك اللقطه شنو على
Hit them
مشينا
fast,
نخلص
hit them hard.
نخلص السبايك
آه،
ذكرين
ويلي.
اللي كنقولها
كل غادي منه.
دابا كتقول
Reload.
كيبقى يدخلوا ديالو
I've got your trail.
توجد انت السلطان ديالك في البدايه.
ماشي.
Spike's down. Spike down A.
Where is everyone hiding?
One enemy remaining.
راح تسيبه. هذا صفر.
Here.
صفر. Good job.
I don't die so easily. Last round before the switch.
Either spend all your money or give it to me. Good cause either way.
What do you need?
Reload him. Reloading. I need a drop.
Fire in the hole!
Concussing! Blasting! Blinding!
Amateur.
Stealing sight.
Go.
Reloading.
Shadows traveling. Enemy spotted.
Spike down A.
لا.
Last player standing.
لعبة زوينة درتي ولكن
One enemy remaining.
اوه نايس. جيرينا.
Switching sides.
I hate waiting. Let's do this! In i skörsölden.
دا يشوف بيض وخير. عندكم؟ واش عندكم بيض فار؟ اوه
Spike down A. One enemy remaining. Flawless.
You get that on camera. Buy stuff, ka-ching, little skrrr, then we're done. Yeah?
انا وين
بيض.
صراحه ندير بحال الحمق.
ما في حتى حاجة.
قلت لك عمرك لعبتي فيفا؟
بي
شتي بحال كاين برا. بس 26 احسن لي انا في الجيم الحل. برو كلوب كذا والله تازون. والله ذاك المود ديال برو كلوب.
One enemy remaining.
27 raise.
Nice stuff.
Match point.
Let's close up
Match
shop.
fucking
I
point.
have things to do.
شو واحد اللي كيف كانوا وجدوا لهم. Phoenix, do you have skin Odin?
No.
Okay.
نمشي لميت والله يجيو لك ما ترمو مشي اوت.
I wish they can be. No. I mean.
I need a drop.
شد أخوك كده. نجيب أنا لك لامن إيش؟ بان عليك لامن.
فوضى الحرام ايش دار؟ ضربتو 119. تفا
زعما خليتو لي لاست راوند زعما غنعيسها.
taken out.
انطراد ودينا المعلم هو علي ما تجي.
راني عارف يو.
سلموا للدار.
تفرج.
هو جاي بلاتو قال لك.
Spike
تفرج
planted.
على ايس.
ضرب.
Dust.
والله مزيد.
Shadows traveling. Cover going out. Blinding.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Watch. That watch. Watch me cook.
Let me take off.
Faster, bro, faster.
Nice.
Nice, bro.
Nice. Very nice.
One more.
What's another death?
No, my.
My ultimate is ready.
Defenders win.
قلت لك غنجيبهم راه خلينا عنده يعني غنشاط.
والله صاحبي لا حشومة صاحبي والله هي الحشومة والله.
مالك؟
واش جيت ماتش ام في بي وعطيني يا صاحبي 24 خصني واحد باش نطلع. واش ماشي الطالع عادي.
جيتي ماتش ام في بي. تيم 18 كيل. شحال مشى يعني يلاه 18 كيل. واش عطاك؟
عطاني 24.
واش بغيتي شحال بغيتي نزيدوك 100؟
غادي تحكوا علينا صاحبي
وانت سيرفر اصاحبي.
عطينا واحد صاحبي.
وانت
لما قلتي عطاوها
عثمان
هو عادي عثمان فيش
ديمبيلي اش ندخل
فين هذاك السنة خويا طلعوا كاين انفيتي سام
يلا سير ما تعطلش والله ما تعطلش
انا عطيك
يلا واش باقي تعطل في الماكله على نساو انا حيت اما الدراري قال لك هو يجي
سير انا جيت انايا
يلا سير
يدفي
يعني فات والله تقسمنا والله ماما ماما مشكل والله مشكل وحقر.
ها؟ ها؟ الو الو الو
الو عفوا بس اخوة.
واش بخير؟
الله يحفظك، فرتي شوية ولا باقي؟
هذيك على الناس ديال سيرفر 91 ار ار.
تسير حدا واحد صاحبي. هايت
بني شي ماتش واخا تلعب برجليك كطلع
خاصك تربح،
كضرب
خاصك تربح.
فكر على كتب راسي بون جوج سينا.
شنين شنو كتندوك بس واحد جوج ثلاثة، واحد جوج ثلاثة زائد اوفيس. هذا مزيان. بعدها خليت اسباس ليبر 3 جيجا 3 جيجا. فينيكس مبقاش تيبان.
هذاك نضرب مع البيسي.
باش تقراو
كيفاش فاش يقرا؟
باش تقرا دابا هو.
ناوي عندنا الباك هي كنجي
هو عنده الباك.
باش داك الماتش يسول فيك كان كيسول فاش كنتي كتقول لي الباك نايم باش كان كيسمع ليك حتى هو كيدوي معنا.
واش هو عنده 16 عام تا هو؟
لا
واش
خويا انت باش لا تعايرني ياك.
لا كيفاش حيت سمعت وقيلا عنده شي 19 ولا واش داكشي.
انا 19 عام.
مالا ما عاود الباك جوج مرات.
لا راه قرا معايا هو العام اللي فات السيزيام. على فين عرفت انا كنت فورا
هكاك. جا في الجهاوي هو
12 شي حاجه
و 12 وما جابش الباك مزيان.
باش ما جابش الباك مزيان خربقوا.
نعم
باش ما جابش الباك مزيان هو مازال ما دوزش الباك.
ما كنتي ليا مدوبل
مدوبل ماشي في الباك. العامين فاش كانوا ياكل السيزون مدوبل هو في السيزون. انا جاي نتكلم هو يتسلى شي حاجه عليك.
سير الله.
عايزين ناس عايزين ناس مجال الشيشه شوفها.
الو
وي
انا جاي صافي الزربه
شو
ميم Oh, 5 minutes.
بسرعة. Pitfall. Oh, pitfall. Pitfall. Yes. Order. إخوان. مرة. شوهتينا.
الو
اخوان. اوه فين صاحبي؟
يلا جيت
استنى صاحبي البيدفال.
يلا
انا دابا اش تريح ونمشيو للفنان.
القضيه عندك زربانه كتمشي بكري.
حتى نجمع ثلاث انا غدا دابا.
الناس خدامه على راسها.
لا الصباح انا اجي في كاين معايا 7 الصباح.
الله يسلمك.
الو الو الو.
نوصل.
مادام غادي نبداو.
لا باش مشي.
Match found.
Pick up mid bar. Go.
Stand in my way. I dare you. Nothing fancy, yeah? We go in, we crush them, we get out.
يلا يلا بيت فرنسا تعطيني ذاك الشيف ولا خليك تسوي رزق.
هي
ضحك عليك يا ريان. ها بروش الثاني يلا بروش.
Spike down A.
Enemy spotted A.
Cover going out.
Last player standing.
بروش يلا بروش.
أربع معي
30 seconds left.
راين
غادي يصدر ليا.
أربع معي يطلع.
غادي يصدر ليا. حط ليا
Smashing the front door.
دابا انا عندي 3 نيفات. حط ليا داك العادي ديالي عندك 6 دابا. خليتيه عندي دابا.
ربما عيطلع برجل. راهو
راه ينسلمش.
راه ندير لك
كلمني بس باش. كلمني. زوي.
Okay.
وراي اسمعني.
كيسر.
ادم انت تسمعني تا هو ولا انت تسمعني؟ صافي هو كنت انا يسمعني صافي حيد.
Spike down.
يسمعني؟
لا.
قول لي واه انت شوف ما خليك يكون تفاصيل صغيره ما اشعر منك تدير لك والو لا فريد بس حي دي برونشي الخير ديال وين كتسمع
انا بيمشي نسيس تمشي السلطه
درت ناس سير اوي سير قول لا وثلاث
تخيلوا يديروا لك انا وصل
Spike planted.
Last player standing.
والله الا بغيت نحيد على شي حاجه
هذيك ويز هذيك
هذيك الدوي هذيك الله يرضي عليك عندك السطار اخويا عندك السطار
هذيك ويز
الله يرضي عليك الدوي هذا اللي كاين هو كاين احسن
لمين 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 يا بار
لا لا ظلموك شفتيك عندك
ظلموك كيما ظلموا لمين
خورة ولا لا خورة؟
لا انا بيترافيني قدام شنو والله يسر والله لا حشومه راه فين يعطوه بلاصه خامسه من الرابعه خمسه اللي عطاوه حشومه
شكون جا الثالث شكون جا الثالث
شحال حط لي فونطوم شحال حط لي فونطوم الفوندار شحال حط لي
الله يلعب عليك شنو جاك شنو شكون جا
ما عنديش
حيدو مليح
والله ما كنضحك معاك
مزيان
والله يخليكم واش فلاشيتيني زعما شنو بيضحكني
ما فلاشيتكش انا راه مولاي ستانوك راه بريتش لي ستانك ديالنا
فلاش
وات فلاش ورا وات فلاشيتي انت بغيتو مال انا بغيت نفلاشي سميتو الاخر اللي كان بوشي هذاك
Spike down B.
تفرج كي غندير لها تفرج ما عرفانيش انا دابا هنا تفرج
اي ما عرفكش تما
ما عرفانيش
دير ما عرفكش
Last player standing.
يا ديك الجهه
ربي ما يسكت هي دابا راه غتلقى عندها
فاش كاين البراش
ما تيخلينيش انا الصوند يدير لي انا معاك يدير لي في ودني يدير لي ها
سيفي
اش بغيت سيفي مع هذا او غادي
الله ثاني
تيقول بسم الله وسير سيفي
عرفتي شحال فيها واش عرفتي شحال فيها ويز 130 والله 130
Infusion cells.
130
Okay, my arms are good.
Yeah.
We can go.
ضربتها صاحبي زيرو انا
والله الا وز حامق بالله غادي باش ايسي ما فهمت زعما انا ما بغاش يسيفي راه غادي باش ايسي هو الاولى ما ضربها جاهز راه
تلبس لا طلع انا برشوش كاع
واش بغيتي تقول زعما راه كيسيركم معانا نخسروا الطرح هذا ولا كيفاش انا نضرب الافكار ديالنا
خليك الافكار السيد تبارك الله
عنده فاندات شوف ارضك الفاندات راه يشيري
ها عندي الله قال لهم
Spike down A. Oh yeah! Monster on the loose! Last player standing.
شنو تعرف يلعب بريد
عندي اللاق راه عندي اللاق
اللاك ديالاش
عندي البوكيت لوصر ما تقدرش تلعب
ما
عشان نعطيك الفوطو
Buried. My ult's ready.
سير صاحبي شي داك شي 8 في الرام سير
والبوكيت لوصر المشكل في الويفي باش تحمر تقول لك
راه 67 في البينغ
راه بينغ ماشي هو البوكيت ماشي حمار هو الزبيله حمار باش الناس ما خارجش
If I may, I'll go in first.
تبارك الله غاك
حديث طفولي وحقر
مش ديال هذا باين هادي نكره ديالو
وين واعر هذا
Concussing.
شوف
Spike down A.
كاين حمار ذاك كاين حمار
يا بلادي بلوك الله يقتل
ورا كامل
ايوا راك شي وحده ماشي مرة
Reloading. Healing over here.
انا ومشى ورجع لورا وسمع
Somebody out.
راه حلقه باش بغيتي معكم بربعه شو معطلين شو تنقول راه واحد زعما تدخل غير والو
باك باك باك.
يلاه يلاه
Last player standing.
سبايك اخويا بلاص انا ما بغيتش نهز العين حيت خفت لا نموت. شو
30 seconds left.
الساس على الويز خسرت عليه الهيز هو كتزوم كضرب نيت كتزوم واش كتضحك دابا راه كتفقصني اصاحبي
You're going to scatter from my shot.
والله يجيب شحال ضحكه كي دايره وعلتي والله يا والله انت خاص بدك بوحدة في العالم والله مسكين والله مجنون حبس بالله الدويز اصاحبي الله يهديك ضريح نفرج فيهم
اخويا ويل لازم الله يسهل الله فينا
Flash out!
Spike down B.
واحد
Last player standing.
ويس باش مات مسكين باش مات
بالإلت
صافي خسروا ادرو اف ديروا اف
بعدا ديت واحد ديالي شي ما عرفتش ندير شي بحال شي ناس باقي زيرو كاين
ديروا اف دير
شنو عرف
شي عارف ليه نتايا
واش حماقتي ولا
واه عنده اوبي ديال الورد ياس واش تقد معنا ولا
لا
0-0 الدراري باقي معايا
ما بغيتيش.
لا.
بس في اف نمشي نلعب اصلا لا الدراري نمشي نلعب مع اصاحبي
مزيانه
ديال هاد الخرا
ديروا اف
0 معانا الدراري
فيوس راه مابقاش كونتي الحبس
وين انا فوق
غادي ما
وفين هما السكين هذاك نوصل
خلص
ايوا تا
خلص كتلقاو
Destabilizing.
Time to hunt.
Showing me a target.
Enemy spotted A. Hey.
Concussing!
Satchel out. Satchel out. Spotted A. Somebody out.
الباندا ديالو باقي شي واحد معاه
قبل داخل وكاري
Spike planted.
طيب عنده الشهدايا
Blinding!
عندي الارك سير كوبري سير كوبري سبايك بالأوتية
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
شي ترولي
ما تكشاج
شي ترولي
ولا لا ما طلعتش
شي ترولي والله ما ديتها بكلاستيك مرة والله ما ديتها بكلاستيك مرة شو لا واعر شي كيجي ترولي شي كيجي ترولي دابا تقولوا ها تلعب لك الصوره
ويس
ثاني
دير روم
جاب لك الحبس اللي جاب لك اطرو هذا الاف
سير صار عندك واحد كيف سكسين
بارك علي داكشي اللي باغي انا
الله يجعل البركه قول لي
ديولا جي 3 كيلو
الله يجعل البركه خويا ما عنديش اللي يعاونني انايا شو ايزو بعدا زيرو كيشا
باللغه
ايزو بحال
ايزو بشيل ما قدموا
يا ريز الحلقه ديالها بالقنبول ديالها ما دارت حتى وزه.
ايزو ما باهش.
ما لعبش على الكيرش كون نلعبوا على الكيرش
اسمع واحد
انا قاعد
اسمع واحد
ما دات بواحد شو صرك شوف
ايزو هذا الشيء
ناري يوسف تيبا بما سير تيبا كاين اوديل داخل
Reloading.
صافي اصلا نساعدك تفضل بحال ما عندك
Satchel out.
ما تلعب واضح.
كومون سايت
Trevor! Plastic!
واحد هنا ويز عندك ويز عندك ويز
شي واحد انا
You should run.
أخلينا شادر
لا يوسف لا
Last player standing.
سبايك يا بس سبايك
أهلينا
ترولي يوسف بما اف اف معي واحد يقول اهلي لا بما اف اف ما عرفتش اف اف يوسف تسمع ليش اف اف
اهلا
دابا خاصني نحل
لا
كان عند امك ولا الهضره هادي كان عند امك بروش انت والله الا بروش بالله الصام طلع عنا دابا تخرع عنا بحال هكا وما تجيش تلعب فالو ما بقاش تلعب مع ديال امي انا كاع واش هو زير هاد الخرع هذا راه تيطرولي ديال امك وما تجيش تلعب معايا انا كاع وما تلعبش معايا انا كاع
نلعب معاك
راه ما قالتش هذا الشيء جواب
الخرع هذا
لا
Reloading.
لا دي شي مثلا تلعب بجوز
Healing over here.
عطيني السبايك هنايا
تعالوا نخلي السبايك
I dropped the spike.
في حاجه عندك فاندر
انا دي الله يحرق لك امك وباك سمعتيني اضحك ضحك
Enemy in
اما شي
defense.
واحد عنده فاندر وداتو وتيدوي
تسير بيلي انت سير عند بيلي انت سير عند بيلي
Ended.
عارف عندها
Reloading.
ياك كتجاوبيني يا عندي سير عند بيلي
لا
One enemy
Brimstone
remaining.
down.
اشنو راني
Last player standing.
صافي يلاه دابا ديك الخبزه ديالك سدا شويه
لا
فهمتيني هادشي حدا بحال هكا كدير لهم وصافي داز وصافي
دري واحد تذكر
كلها هكا ديال الله جايز اف اوترو اف
I survived obliteration. I will survive them.
خرا هذا تا ولاد الحبس هذا راه هاد الخرا هذا ما بقاش العمى ديال مو انا كاع مش عايتكلم مو ما عرفتش شي خرا تما دابا
هذاك شوف هذاك البراوج ديال السيف
البروشه هي امك سمعتيني سير نعطيك باكي
راك انت
سير عند
اصلا
امك
حاجه انت اصلا ما داير حتى حاجه في الجيم بدا
يلا صاحبي راه عندنا طرح واحد نمشيو نعوضو في
انا
حالنا
برو تنخوف
والله تطرولي انت بالله
Loosen up.
ولكن الرياضه ما
لا عافاك
Spike down B.
Got the spike!
لا انت دير بوسه انت سير مسالي شوف ما الا مسالي ودبيت
لا بيلي يلا بيلي
أهلينا
دير جوج انا دابا شنو خاصني دير تيم كامله
لا ما كان هو هذا
اجل كاين اجل
Reloading.
انا على شي
أربعة اجل روتيشن
تتفرج اخوك بيدنا هذيك ابوي
تبارك الله على لويز صافي.
5 في الدم. الاخر كان عنده 40. تجيبوا
سروال ولا باش؟
30 seconds left.
لا
بريتش هذا
45 دموك في الاوب.
Spike planted. My ult's ready.
تحواو يا صاحبي.
معنا
وانا معي مخيات شكون ندير له؟
معنا
شد مورايا ويز مورايا.
رئيس الفرنسا.
لا مورايا ويز شد مورايا.
واحد الفوق اصاحبي.
اي خليها انا هنايا خليها.
التي
تما.
اف اف يا صاحبي اف
واش قلتيش عندك؟ اللي عجز ديال امك.
اف اف يا صاحبي.
One enemy remaining.
وين تخسر قول شوف واش يعني راه صاحبي.
ليتس جو.
واش السالفه
I'm still here.
سديد.
انا زمان طلع هذا
قال لك حاشاك
They
بيسيفي.
think they're so secure.
شو سكين سكاي كان هذا سكين
واش قاد ديك
سكاي
نو
باليز
خرج راسها باف اف يا صاحبي. جوج سملي زعما تجيب.
والله الا راه ماني ما بغاوش انا نقول دابا تصير انا لما فات
7 نقطة واحدة صاحبي. واش شي كيدة بعدا.
سيروا شي تساليو انا وبيني نقصروا شي سوق.
يلا سير بلا
يلا غير.
بعد انا
Spot a change.
سكار.
لا
نايس ايزو.
Heal up, squad.
You are you fucking human. It's not me.
Hawk out.
لا
Reloading. Reloading.
دخل بلانش دخل.
Drop the spike.
Grenade.
نلحق البولولور سيف.
Fire in the hole.
Spike planted.
فين يديك
Blinding.
لا
Last player standing.
ويلي زعما راه
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
صافي عليك.
Stealing sight. Shadows traveling.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god. It's so bad.
ويا ديك جوج واش
داك السموك دابا
Last round in the half.
داك السموك اش داك السموك.
نفس البلاصة بحال
هذا السموك حمار داك السموك على راسك. ويلي عملاوي.
ديك جوج خويا ديك جوج اخويا تبارك عليك
جوج راه ضاربنا 9 كيلات راه الاف بي غير صدر عندك 3 كيلات.
راك ديالي انت طبعا 9 كيلو
ومن بعد اش انا ما تيسموكيش شي عمرك شتك دابا سموكيش ليا طاوره عمرك عمرك سكاهيلات.
ربي كيفاش
عاوني ايزو
يلا دخل انا سير انا اسمح لي سموكي قال لك فين عمرك شتي فين عمرك انا اصلا شك داخل الصيف تاني ما تلقاك اللورا شوف فين غادي شوف فين جايين ها انا هبط الحياه
والله الا صحابي نشوفوا لي داز راه كانوا جوج تما.
وي زين اخي يلا خلطه واحد
بغيت مورانا.
Cover going out.
Concussing.
Player standing. Spike down A.
واي علاش سئلتي علاش يقول لي علاش سئلتي لا لا اسيد دابا السيق نجيب لي السكين ديال الكايون
سير تا هو الطرح ديال امو قاعد يلعب.
Watch them run. Celebrate.
شوف انت تمنظر.
ما نسيت سبايك وات ذا فاك.
لا 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 لا
30 seconds left.
لا 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 داروا عليك داروا عليك داروا عليك داروا عليك.
ولا واخا داروا عليها. ولد
لا 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 لا
والله يا ولد دير الكلمة تفوت. لا تاني في جواب ثاني.
Oh man, you so bad, man.
10 seconds
يا
left.
صافي شو 5 ولا
Insane French. FF please, FF.
راه عندنا درت اف اف كاين اف اف
زعما دري درتي سيرين.
لويس درتيها
اف صاحبي وايزو.
ايزو اف ايزو
والله ترى
ايزو بما طرنا ديال ما ديك
No, IFF.
Puta, shut the fuck up.
I think it's Sky.
Bro, IFF.
Shut the fuck up. Iso, shut the fuck up.
Fuck you, Sky.
Shut up, you so bad, man.
كانه كاين واحد هو اللي تقدم من الارض.
You put him in.
طب على خليك تشيري هذا ما دارش كيف
تشوف خليهم صافي خليهم يخسروا.
Spike planted.
لا 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 لا
سيريوس قول بسم الله.
لا
Shut up. Each push, blue.
علم سالي علم سالي على العالم.
هو الواعر اخويا.
لا
تحكيني شوف بس مسكين شوف بس
يلا
Last player standing.
زعما راه واعر داكشي ديال لي برو زعما.
You're so bad, teammate. You're so bad, man.
تيكو هذا ما انجلش.
You're so much, man. You're so much, man.
Bad teammate, bad teammate. Understand? Blue. 2 kill. Shut the fuck.
You're so bad. Yo, bro.
Understand, Valorant. Understand, Valorant.
You don't have 20 kill.
ايزو
Understand, bro. Understand.
جو بلاي ماينكرافت.
You're so bad, man. Your team so bad.
لا
2 kill.
just by mistake took
الله يحرق لك امك فايز.
Shut the fuck up, man. Okay?
Spike planted.
لا
سيريا تمثال.
لا نو مالو خلينا
Here.
يلا يلا بارين ديك كذا
تصرفت عليك ويز.
Last player standing.
بقى لك واحد يلا نديها واحد
Nice switch, nice.
يلا بوشي انت شي واحد
Nice, bitch. Nice.
بوشي
تيقول لك بيتش
2 kill, bro. Shut up.
بوشي
My dog. Shut up.
next time
My god. Shut up.
Match point.
Thank you. Thank you, dog.
Are you from India?
Thank you, dog.
Thank
You need to go to war. You need to go to war. You need to help your mom. I'm trying for that.
Thank you, dad. Thank you.
India.
Spike planted. Got it.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
Nice team. Let's go team. Nice team, nice.
Attackers win.
Nice team, good job. Nice team, nice.
كويس انت تمشي ولا مازال؟
انا نتحرك ستيم بوجي انايا باغا نشوف هسه
صافي انا غنمشي دابا غير صافي بعدا بس ما عرفتش ما ندوز في هاد الشيء ما عرفتش كاع مرتاح. يلا سير الله
يلا سير طلب.
He could never seem to make it to 12 o'clock without getting into trouble 3 times. His name wasn't even up on the blackboard yet, but he knew that by 12 o'clock it would be up, checked, and circled. Mrs. Jules, what am I going to do? I'm stuck. I'm going to have to stay here the rest of my life, said Jason. Joy, tell Jason you're sorry, said Mrs. Jules. I'm sorry, Jason, said Joy. Oh, that's okay, Joy, said Jason. I don't mind. Try to get up, Jason, said Mrs. Jules. Jason tried. I can't, Mrs. Jules. I'm stuck. Mrs. Jules asked the 3 Erics to help. Eric Fry and Eric Ovens pulled Jason. Eric Bacon held the chair. Stop, cried Jason. You'll rip my pants. Rondi and Allison giggled. All right, said Mrs. Jules. Let's try ice water. That should freeze the gum and make it less sticky. I'll go get some from Miss Mush. Miss Mush was the lunch teacher at Wayside School. She had the remarkable ability to undercook a dish and overcook it at the same time. Her specialty was a nice hot bowl of mud. She called it porridge. Jason looked at Rondi and Allison. No, Mrs. Jules, he said. Don't leave me. Besides, Miss Mush's ice water is probably warm. Don't be silly, Jason, said Mrs. Jules. I'm sure it will be at least as cold as her soups. Rondi and Allison leered at Jason. No, Mrs. Jules, don't go, begged Jason. I'll be right back, Jason, said Mrs. Jules. She went to Miss Mush for some ice water. As soon as Mrs. Jules stepped out the door, Rondi and Allison jumped up from their seats and started to tickle Jason. He laughed until his hair turned purple. The girls got back to their seats just as Mrs. Jules returned. Mrs. Jules carried a big bucket of ice-cold water. Oh, no, please don't. No, Jason pleaded. We have no choice, said Mrs. Jules. She threw the water all over him. Well, said Mrs. Jules, try to get up. Jason was drenched. I'm wet, and I'm cold, and I'm still stuck." "Oh, well, it didn't work," said Mrs. Jewls. "At least we tried. Now I guess we'll have to cut your pants off." Rondi and Allison giggled. "No, Mrs. Jewls, no," Jason screamed. "I don't mind being stuck here. I'm really very comfortable." "Don't be silly, Jason," said Mrs. Jewls. "Don't cut off my pants," said Jason. "The 3 Erics can carry you to the bathroom," said Mrs. Jewls. "I'll ask Lewis to call your mother. She can bring you a new pair of pants." The 3 Erics took hold of Jason's chair and turned him upside down. "No, Mrs. Jewls," said Jason. "Now I'll always have a place to sit down. I won't have to worry about finding a seat on the bus." The 3 Erics began to take him away. "Wait," said Joy. "Mrs. Jewls, if I can get Jason unstuck, do I still have to go home on the kindergarten bus?" "All right," said Mrs. Jewls. "If you can somehow get Jason free, you don't have to go home early." "Don't trust her, Mrs. Jewls," said Jason. He was still hanging upside down. "I'll just kiss him," said Joy. "No!" Jason screamed. "Don't let her kiss me, Mrs. Jewls. Throw water on me, tickle me, cut off my pants, hang me upside down from the ceiling, but don't let her kiss me." "I'll just kiss him on the nose," said Joy. "We've got nothing to lose, Jason," said Mrs. Jewls. "Ooh, who would want to kiss Jason?" said Allison. Jason hung helplessly upside down. Joy stepped up and kissed him on the nose. Jason fell out of the chair and hit his head on the floor. Rondi and Allison giggled. "Darn," said Todd. "Now I'll have to go home alone again." Joy erased her name from the blackboard. Chapter 13. Rondi. Rondi had 22 beautiful teeth. Everyone else had 24. Rondi was missing her 2 front teeth. And those were the most beautiful teeth of all. "Your front teeth are so cute," said Mrs. Jewls. "They make you look just adorable." "But, Mrs. Jewls," said Rondi, "I don't have any front teeth." "I know," said Mrs. Jewls. "That's what makes them so cute." Rondi didn't understand. "Oh, Rondi, I just love your 2 front teeth," said Mauricia. "I wish I had some like that." "But I don't have them," said Rondi. "That's why I love them so much," said Mauricia. "Oh, this is silly," said Rondi. "Everybody thinks the teeth I don't have are cute. I'm not wearing a coat. Don't you all just love my coat? And what about my 3rd arm? I don't have one. Isn't it lovely?" "Love your hat, Rondi," said Joy. "I'm not wearing a hat," Rondi screamed. "That's what makes it so interesting," said Joy. "Don't you think so, Leslie?" "Oh, yes," said Leslie. "It's a very nice hat. Nice boots, too." "I'm not wearing boots," Rondi insisted. "Yes," said Joy. "Very nice boots. They go so well with your hat." "What hat?" asked Rondi. "Yes," Leslie agreed. Rondi showed excellent taste by not wearing the hat or the boots. They go so well together. Rondi had had enough. She covered her head so nobody could see her hat. She put her feet under her desk so nobody could see her boots. Then she closed her mouth tightly so nobody could see her 2 front teeth. Suddenly, everybody who was sitting near her began to laugh. "What's so funny?" asked Todd. "The joke Rondi didn't tell," said Jason. "Ask Rondi not to tell it again, Todd," said Calvin. "Rondi," said Todd, "don't tell it again." Rondi was horrified. She didn't know what to do. She kept her mouth shut and just stared at Todd. To her amazement, Todd laughed. "Hey, everybody," called Todd. "Listen to Rondi's joke." Rondi didn't say a word, but the rest of the class began to laugh. Mrs. Jules got very angry. She wrote Rondi's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. "The classroom is not the place for jokes," she said. "But Mrs. Jules," said Rondi, "I didn't tell a joke." "Yes, I know," said Mrs. Jules. "But the funniest jokes are the ones that remain untold." Okay, said Rondi. "If that's what you want, then that's what you'll get. I'll really tell a joke. That way I won't disturb the class. And tomorrow I'll wear boots and a hat. Of course, you won't like them as much as the ones I didn't wear today, but I'd better hurry up and tell my joke before you all start to laugh." There was a monkey sitting in a banana tree. He was very hungry. He knew that somewhere in the tree there was a magic banana, and that once he ate that banana, he wouldn't be hungry anymore. He ate one banana. That wasn't it. He was still hungry. He ate another banana. That one wasn't it either. He was still hungry. Finally, after he ate his 10th banana, he wasn't hungry anymore. "I knew I'd find it," he said. "It's too bad I didn't eat that one first. I wouldn't have had to waste all those other bananas." Nobody laughed. Nobody had even listened to Rondi. Mrs. Jules was busy teaching arithmetic, and everybody else was paying strict attention. Rondi slapped herself in the face to make sure she was really there. She was. The bell rang for recess. Rondi ran outside. She was very upset. Lewis, the yard teacher, saw her. "Why the frown, Rondi?" he asked. "Come on, smile. Let me see your cute front teeth." Rondi screamed. She socked Lewis in the stomach, then bit his arm with her missing teeth. And that kind of bite hurts the worst. Chapter 14. Sammy. It was a horrible, stinky, rainy day. Some rainy days are fun and exciting, but not this one. This one stunk. All the children were wet and wore smelly raincoats. The whole room smelled awful. "Oh, it stinks in here," said Maricia. Everybody laughed, but she was right. There was one good thing, however. There was a new boy in the class. New kids are always fun. Except no one could even tell what the new boy looked like. He was completely covered by his raincoat. "Class," said Mrs. Jules, "I'd like you all to meet Sammy. Let us show him what a nice class we can be." Leslie walked up and smiled at Sammy, but her smile quickly turned into a frown. You smell terrible, she said. Leslie, exclaimed Mrs. Jewls, that's no way to greet a new member of our class. Mrs. Jewls wrote Leslie's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. But he does, Mrs. Jewls, said Leslie. He smells awful. You're ugly, Sammy replied. Now, Sammy, that's no way to talk, said Mrs. Jewls. Leslie's a very pretty girl. She's ugly, said Sammy. Allison spoke up. Well, you smell terrible and are probably even uglier, but nobody can see you because you are hiding under that smelly old raincoat. That will be enough of that, said Mrs. Jewls. Now, Sammy, why don't you take off your coat and hang it in the closet? Let us all see how nice you look. I don't want to, you old windbag, said Sammy. That's because he's so ugly, said Leslie. I'm sure he's quite handsome, said Mrs. Jewls. He's just shy. Here, let me help you. Mrs. Jewls took off Sammy's coat for him, but underneath it was still another raincoat, even dirtier and smellier than the first one. They still couldn't see his face. Oh, now he smells even worse, said Mauricia. You don't exactly smell like a rose either, Sammy replied. Mrs. Jewls took off his second raincoat, but there was still another one under that. And the smell became so bad that Mrs. Jewls had to run and stick her head out the window to get some fresh air. You're all a bunch of pigs, Sammy screeched. Dirty, rotten pigs. The smell was overpowering. Sammy just stood there, hidden under his raincoats. Mrs. Jewls wrote Sammy's name under the word discipline. Send him home on the kindergarten bus, said Joy. Not with me, said Todd. Mrs. Jewls held her nose, walked up to Sammy, and removed his raincoat. She threw it out the window, but he had on still another one. Sammy hissed, Hey, old windbag, watch where you throw my good clothes. Mrs. Jewls put a check next to Sammy's name on the blackboard. Then she took off another raincoat and threw it out the window. The smell got worse, for he had on still another one. Sammy began to laugh. His horrible laugh was even worse than his horrible voice. When Sammy first came into the room, he was 4 feet tall. But after Mrs. Jewls removed 6 of his raincoats, he was only 3 feet tall. And there were still more raincoats to go. Mrs. Jewls circled his name and removed another coat. She threw it out the window. Then she put a triangle around the circle and threw another one of his coats outside. She kept doing this until Sammy was only 1.5 feet high. With every coat she took off, Sammy's laugh got louder and the smell got worse. Some of the children held their ears. Others could hold only one ear because they were holding their nose with the other hand. It was hard to say which was worse, the laugh or the smell. Sammy stopped laughing and said, Hey, old windbag, if you take off one more of my coats and throw it out the window, I'll bite your head off. They smell too bad for me to allow them in my classroom, said Mrs. Jewls. You can pick them up when you leave. They smell better than you do, pighead, Sammy shouted. Mrs. Jules didn't stop. She took off another one of his coats, then another and another. Sammy was only 4 inches tall, 3 inches tall, 2 inches tall. At last, she removed the final coat. All that was there was a dead rat. "Well, I don't allow dead rats in my classroom," said Mrs. Jules. She picked it up by the tail and put it in a plastic bag and threw it away. Mrs. Jules didn't allow dead rats in her class. Todd once brought in a dead rat for show and tell, and Mrs. Jules made him throw that one away too. "I'm glad Sammy isn't allowed in our classroom," said Rondi. "I didn't like him very much." "Yes," said Mrs. Jules, "we caught another one." Dead rats were always trying to sneak into Mrs. Jules's class. That was the 3rd one she'd caught since September. Chapter 15. Dee Dee. This story contains a problem and a solution. Dee Dee was a mousy-looking kid. Unlike most children at Wayside School, she liked recess better than spelling. As soon as the recess bell rang, she would jump up from her seat and run out the door. There were big signs in Wayside School on every floor. No jumping down the stairs. Dee Dee never seemed to notice the signs. She jumped down the stairs. Some children took the stairs 2 at a time. Dee Dee took them 10 at a time. That was on the way down. It was funny. She never seemed to be in quite the same hurry on the way back up. There was another sign at Wayside School. No cutting across the grass. Dee Dee must not ever have seen that one either. She cut across the grass and ran up to Louis, the yard teacher. "I want a green ball," Dee Dee said. The green balls were the best. "I'm all out of green balls," said Louis. "Okay, then I want a red ball," said Dee Dee. The red balls were just about as good as the green balls. They didn't bounce as high, but actually, sometimes you don't want a ball to bounce too high. "I'm all out of red balls too," said Louis. "Do you have anything left?" asked Dee Dee. Dee Dee meant anything besides the yellow ball. There was one yellow ball at Wayside School, and Louis was always trying to get rid of it. It didn't bounce, and it never went the way it was kicked. "Anything at all?" asked Dee Dee. "Today is your lucky day," said Louis. "I have one ball left, just for you, the one and only yellow ball." "No, thanks," said Dee Dee. "Aw, come on, take it," said Louis. "Why don't you ever have any green or red balls?" asked Dee Dee. "I do," said Louis, "but the other children ask first. By the time you get out here, they're all gone." "But that's because I have to come all the way from the 30th story." "How do you expect me to compete with the kids from the 1st or 2nd?" she asked. "That's why I saved you the yellow ball," said Louis. "Everybody wanted it, but I saved it just for you." "I bet," said Dee Dee. She took the yellow ball and bounced it on the ground. It stopped dead with a thud. She stepped back, ran up, and kicked it. It went backwards over her head. She didn't bother chasing it. Instead, she played hopscotch with Jenny and Leslie. She thought it was disgusting. The next day, Dee Dee asked Mrs. Jules if she could go to recess early. "Why?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "So I can get a green ball before Lewis gives them all away," said Dee Dee. "I'm glad you have a good reason," said Mrs. Jewls. "Yes, you may go, but first, spell Mississippi for me." Spelling was not Dee Dee's best subject. By the time she got it right, she was 5 minutes late for recess. She jumped down the stairs, cut across the grass, and ran up to Lewis. There were no green balls left. There were no red balls left either. However, there was still the yellow ball. Dee Dee played jump rope with Joy and Mauricia. It was no better than hopscotch. So Dee Dee's problem was to figure out a way to get a green ball or at least a red ball. You already know that this story also contains a solution. Dee Dee figured it out. See if you can too. Remember everything you know about Dee Dee, Wayside School, and Mrs. Jewls. Hint: the next day, Dee Dee brought a cream cheese and jelly sandwich, some nuts, and shredded cheese in her lunchbox. Here's what happened. Just before recess, Dee Dee smeared the cream cheese and jelly all over her face. Then she stuffed her mouth with nuts and hung the shredded cheese from her nose. When she closed her eyes, she looked just like a dead rat. Todd was in on the plan. "Mrs. Jewls," he called, "there's a dead rat in the classroom." Mrs. Jewls was very put out. "I want that dead rat outside immediately." When Mrs. Jewls said immediately, she meant it. Dee Dee instantly found herself outside on the playground. "I want a green ball," she said. Lewis pretended that he hadn't heard her. "May I please have a green ball?" asked Dee Dee. Lewis gave her a green ball. "I don't know how you did it, Dee Dee, but you're first today," he said. When Mrs. Jewls found out that Dee Dee and Todd had tricked her, she sent Todd home early on the kindergarten bus. Dee Dee threw the green ball on the ground. It bounced 50 feet straight up in the air, and then she caught it. "You don't like me, do you?" she asked Lewis. "Sure I do," said Lewis. "No, you don't," said Dee Dee. "Yes, I like you," said Lewis. "No, you don't," Dee Dee insisted. "Yes, I like you. I really do," said Lewis. "Are you sure?" asked Dee Dee. "Yes," said Lewis. "Don't you believe me?" "I guess so," said Dee Dee. "Do you like me?" asked Lewis. "You bet," said Dee Dee. "You're my best friend." "Terrific," said Lewis. "I always wanted to be best friends with a dead rat." Chapter 16. DJ. DJ skipped up the 30 flights of stairs to Mrs. Jewls' room. He was grinning from ear to ear, from nose to chin, from here to there, and back again. "Hey, DJ," Todd shouted. "Glad to see you." Todd was a pushover for smiling faces. Mrs. Jewls heard him. She began to write Todd's name on the board under discipline, but when she saw DJ's smile, she put down the chalk. "Good morning, DJ," she said. "What are you so happy about?" DJ grinned and shrugged his shoulders. Mrs. Jewls smiled. Damien looked at the smile on Mrs. Jewls' face, then at Todd's, and finally at DJ's. Then Damien smiled too. His smile was almost as big as DJ's. They were best friends. Once they saw the two of them smiling, the rest of the class couldn't help but smile. Rondi had a very cute one due to her 2 missing front teeth. Nobody had an ugly smile. Jason came to school late. He was very upset. But the first thing he saw was Damien's smile, and he felt a little bit better. Then he saw Rondi's toothless grin, and he even began to smile a little himself. But when he saw the piano on DJ's face, he fell, laughing, onto the floor. Everybody started to laugh, even Kathy, and she hardly ever laughed, except when someone hurt himself. The whole room seemed to be laughing, not just the people in it. The blackboard chuckled. The ceiling snickered. The desks were jumping up and down, and the chairs were slapping one another on the back. The floor was very ticklish. It laughed until the walls turned purple. The waste paper basket started to sing, and all the pencils stood up and danced. Finally, things began to settle down. Mrs. Jules wiped her eyes and said, "DJ, why don't you tell the class why you are so happy? At least let us know what we are laughing about." But DJ just kept on smiling. "Aw, come on, DJ," said Dee Dee. "Tell us." DJ didn't say a word. He couldn't. His mouth was stretched out of shape. "Let us guess," said Ron. "If we guess right, will you tell us?" DJ nodded his head. His smile began to hurt his ears. Everyone took one guess. Have you been swimming? Is it your birthday? Are you in love? Did you get a green ball? Nobody guessed right. At recess, DJ was still smiling. Lewis, the yard teacher, called, "Hey, DJ, come here." They walked to the far corner of the playground, where they were alone. "What's up, DJ?" Lewis asked. DJ just smiled. "Come on, DJ, you can tell me. Why are you so happy?" DJ looked up at him. He said, "You need a reason to be sad. You don't need a reason to be happy." Chapter 17. John. John had light brown hair and a round head. He was Joe's best friend. John was one of the smartest boys in Mrs. Jules's class. But he had one problem. He could only read words written upside down. Nobody ever wrote anything upside down. But it was only a little problem. John was still in the high reading group. He just turned his book upside down. It was easier for John to turn his book upside down than to learn to read correctly. But the easiest way isn't always the best way. Mrs. Jules said, "John, you can't go on reading like this. You can't spend the rest of your life turning your books upside down." "Why not?" asked John. "Because I said so," said Mrs. Jules. "Besides, what happens when I write something on the blackboard? You can't turn the blackboard upside down." "No, I guess you're right," said John. "I know I'm right," said Mrs. Jules. "You are going to have to learn to stand on your head." Joe couldn't stand on his head. He had given up trying. You would have too, if you had fallen over as many times as he had. Joe was John's best friend. He could stand on John's head. Every time John fell over, Joe stood on his head. After all, what are best friends for? My head is too round, Mrs. Jules. I can't stand on it, said John. Of course you can, John, said Mrs. Jules. If Joe can stand on your head, so can you. It's easy, John, said Joe. I can't, John repeated. I always fall over. Nonsense, said Mrs. Jules. All you have to do is find your center of balance. Now, up you go. John put his round head on the floor and swung his legs up. He fell right over. Then Joe stood on John's head. See, John, it's easy. Nothing to it, Joe said. We'll help you, John, said Mrs. Jules. Joe, get off John's head and get me the pillow from under my desk. Nancy, Calvin, come here and give us a hand. Mrs. Jules took the pillow from Joe and set it on the floor. All right, John, we'll surround you, she said. We won't let you fall. John put his head on the pillow and swung his legs up. He started to fall one way, but Nancy pushed him back up. Then he started to fall another way, but Calvin straightened him out. John kept falling a little bit this way and that way until at last he found his center of balance. Hey, look at me! Look at me, said John. I'm up. I'm really up. I'm standing on my head. I found my center of balance. It's beautiful. I can read the blackboard. Hey, Calvin, bring me a book. And you don't have to turn it upside down. Ha ha! Hey, who? Ah! Bam! While Calvin went to get the book, John fell flat on his face. You better stay off my head, Joe, he warned. Are you all right, John? Asked Mrs. Jules. Yes, I think so. I feel a little funny. Hey, I can still read the blackboard, and I'm not upside down. I can read right side up now. When I fell, I must have flipped my brain or something. That is wonderful, John, said Mrs. Jules. Here, put the pillow back under my desk. As a reward, you may have a Tootsie Roll Pop. They are in the coffee can on top of my desk. John placed the pillow on top of her desk. Then he looked under her desk, but he couldn't find the Tootsie Roll Pops anywhere. Chapter 18. Leslie. Leslie had 5 fingers on each hand and 5 toes on each foot. For each hand, she had an arm, and for each foot, she had a leg. She was a very lucky girl. And she had 2 lovely long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. When Mrs. Jules asked a question, Leslie could raise one of her hands. When Leslie was adding, she could count on her fingers. When Paul pulled one of her pigtails, she could kick him with one foot while standing on the other. But Leslie had one problem. She didn't know what to do with her toes. She had 10 adorable little toes and nothing to do with them. As far as she could tell, they served no useful purpose. Suck your toes. That's what I do, said Sherry. But Leslie's foot wouldn't reach her mouth. Well, that's all toes are good for, said Sherry. She put her foot in her mouth and went to sleep. No, thought Leslie, they must be good for something. They just have to be. During recess, she asked Dana, Dana, what do you do with your toes? I scratch the back of my legs, said Dana. First, I scratch my left leg, with my right foot. Then I scratch my right leg with my left foot. But my legs don't itch, said Leslie. That's good, said Dana. In that case, you can scratch my legs. With your help, I can scratch both legs at the same time. No, never mind, said Leslie. She walked up behind Lewis, the yard teacher, and hopped on his shoulders. Lewis, said Leslie, I don't know what to do with my toes. Lewis tugged her foot. Yes, that is a serious problem, he said. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take them off your hands for you, or rather, your feet. Just cut them off and give them to me. What? Asked Leslie. You don't want them, so I'll take them, said Lewis. You won't have to worry about them ever again. No, said Leslie. I'll give them to Miss Mush, said Lewis. She can make little hot dogs out of them. Miss Mush was the lunch teacher. No, I'm not going to give my toes away, said Leslie. All right, said Lewis. I'll give you a nickel apiece for them. No, you can't have them, said Leslie. Why not? Lewis asked. They're no good to you anyhow. And think of all you can buy for 50 cents. The bell rang. I'll think it over, said Leslie. She ran back to class. Mrs. Jules, said Leslie, I don't see any reason for keeping my toes. Oh, Leslie, I'm sure there are lots of good reasons, said Mrs. Jules. Well, I can't think of any. My legs don't itch, and I can't get my foot in my mouth. Lewis offered me a nickel apiece for them, and it seems to me like a good deal. But I wanted to check with you first. I think Lewis was pulling your leg, said Mrs. Jules. No, said Leslie. He was pulling my toes. What would he want with your toes? Asked Mrs. Jules. I don't know, said Leslie, but if he's willing to give me 5 cents apiece for them, then I'm going to take him up on it. That's 50 cents. At lunch, Leslie walked up to Lewis. Okay, Lewis, she said. You can have my toes for a nickel apiece. That will be 50 cents. Not so fast, said Lewis. Let me look at them first. Leslie took off her shoes. Yes, said Lewis. The big ones are good, and the ones next to them. But the most I'll give you for the rest of your toes is 3 cents each. Leslie was furious. 3 cents each? You told me 5 at recess. I'll give you 5 cents for the big ones, but just look at that scrawny little runt of a toe on the end there. You're lucky to be getting even 3 cents for it. I think you're getting a darn good deal. I happen to like that toe, said Leslie. Fine then, said Lewis. Keep it. I'll just take the 2 big toes, and we'll call it square. He reached in his pocket and pulled out a dime. Nothing doing, said Leslie. These toes are sold as a set. It's either all 10 for 50 cents or no deal. What am I going to do with just 8 toes? Then forget it, said Lewis. I'm not going to give you a nickel for those scrawny little end toes. Fine, said Leslie, no deal. My toes will still be here if you change your mind. She turned and walked toward the hopscotch area. Wait a second, Lewis called. I'll give you $1 each for your pigtails. Leslie turned around and looked at him with fiery eyes. Cut my hair, she exclaimed. Are you crazy? Chapter 19. Miss Zarves. There is no Miss Zarves. There is no 19th story. Sorry. Chapter 20. Kathy. Kathy doesn't like you. She doesn't know you, but she still doesn't like you. She thinks you are stupid. In fact, she thinks you are the stupidest person she doesn't know. What do you think of that? She also thinks you're ugly. As a matter of fact, she thinks you are the ugliest person she doesn't know. And she doesn't know a lot of people. She doesn't like the people she knows either. She hates everybody in Mrs. Jules's class. She did like one member of the class. She liked Sammy. She thought he was funny. Sammy was a dead rat. But Kathy has good reasons for not liking any of the children she knows. She doesn't like DJ because he smiles too much. And she doesn't like John because he can't stand on his head. Kathy once had a cat named Skunks. She liked Skunks. But she was afraid that Skunks would run away. You have nothing to worry about, Kathy, said Mrs. Jules. Skunks won't run away. Just be nice to him, and feed him, and pet him, and he won't run away. He may go out and play, but he'll always come back. No, you're wrong, Mrs. Jules, said Kathy. What do you know? He'll run away. So Kathy kept Skunks locked up in her closet at home. She never let him out, and sometimes even forgot to feed him. One day, while Kathy was looking for her other shoe, Skunks ran out of the closet and never came back. You said he would come back, Mrs. Jules, said Kathy. He never came back. You were wrong. I was right. That was why Kathy didn't like Mrs. Jules. The next time I get a cat, I'll kill him. Then he'll never run away, said Kathy. Then there was the time that Damien tried to teach Kathy how to play catch. Damien said, "When I throw you the ball, Kathy, try to catch it." "I can't catch it," said Kathy. "I'll just get hurt." "You won't get hurt," Damien insisted. "Just watch the ball." He tossed it to her. But Kathy knew she'd get hurt, so she closed her eyes. The ball hit her on the cheek. It hurt. Kathy began to cry. "You were wrong," she sobbed. "I was right." That was why Kathy didn't like Damien. Allison believed that if you are nice to someone, then they'll be nice to you. So one day she brought Kathy a cookie. "I don't want your ugly cookie," said Kathy. "It probably tastes terrible." Allison said, "No, it is very good. I made it myself." Kathy said, "If you made it, then it must stink. You can't cook. You're too stupid." She just put the cookie in her desk along with her pencils, crayons, and books. 3 weeks later, Kathy was hungry. "All right, Allison," she said. "I'll try your stupid cookie." She took it out of her desk. It was covered with dust. She bit it. It was hard and tasted terrible. "See," said Kathy, "I was right." That was why Kathy didn't like Allison. Yes, Kathy had very good reasons for not liking anybody she knew. But she also has a good reason for not liking you. And she doesn't even know you. Her reason is this. She knows that if you ever met her, you wouldn't like her. You don't like Kathy, do you? See? She was right. It's funny how a person can be right all the time and still be wrong. Chapter 21. Ron. Ron had curly hair and little feet. I want to play kickball, he said. You can't play, said Terrence. Get out of here, said Dee Dee. Scram, said Jason. I want to play kickball, said Ron. Well, you're not playing, said Terrence. Beat it. Ron stomped across the playground to the hopscotch area. Jenny was playing hopscotch with Lewis. Jenny was on 9. Lewis was still on 4, but it was his turn. I want to play kickball, Ron said.